There he is, finally. He's a little dusty, I think, actually. I don't like to think that.
So I did Elmer, the Keebler Elf.
Probably for me, it was the Raid Bugs. I did a series of Raid Bugs over the years.
I was always the little guy running around.
I'm most famous for the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Pop sounded,
he kind of had a voice like this. And he sang, too. So he could sing, "It's fun to put Snap, Crackle, Pop into your morning." There's no stopping once Pop starts popping. Snap, Crackle, Pop, talking just to you. That's so sound system.
The genesis of critters on TV is really interesting. When you look at new mediums, what you find is at first they draft off the old medium. So TV was a brand new medium and it drafted off radio, right? So what was radio? Radio was a guy talking, an announcer talking about a product.
Here's really big television news. You're the first to hear all about all-new 1952 light-tested television.
So when TV was new, what you had was stand-up guys, right? Spokesman, John Cameron Swayze.
Ladies and gentlemen, a good evening to you. This is John Cameron Swayze for Timex Watches.
So at some point, what happened is I think people figured out the medium more and figured out it was a visual medium, and how do we take advantage of a visual medium? Creative people are always seeking to do things differently. Somebody at some point said, I'm sick of doing stand-up spokesman. Let's create a character. Let's make a cartoon. Let's, whatever it is, right? So they create something that personifies the brand.
Yeah, what I tell you? They sent for me. All right, cut the comedy. Sorry, Charlie. Only the best tuna get to be star-kissed.
You can see through the history that Leo Burnett, basically, all the stuff was done at Leo Burnett Agency.
The Green Giant, Snap, Crackle, and Pop, Morris the Cat, Tony the Tiger, Charlie the Tuna, the Keebler Elf, Mr. Clean, and the Pillsbury Doughboy and Ronald. You know, these were all invented pretty much by almost Leo Burnett.
Ernie!
What's wrong?
Look at our oven!
You must be baking club crackers.
How'd you guess?
Club crackers bake up uncommonly light.
There were basic people, the core people that did a lot of the animated voices. And we all worked together. The main one was Ernie, and he was the all-knowing wise elf. And then there were, I think, 2 or 3 others.
Mr. Keebler, look, it says Weedables beat Wheat Thins and taste tests.
Really? By 2-to-1.
Weedables are the greatest.
Is it true that Weedables beat Wheat Thins and taste tests 2-to-1? There's a lot of hello, sirs.
But where's your elfin modesty?
Sorry, sir. I got carried away.
But who is this critter? And I feel that I feel sort of somewhat good about the fact that we were able to make these into sometimes interesting little human interest stories in 30 seconds. Don was Snap, and who was kind of buttoned up. He was kind of a buttoned up kind of critter. And then Crackle was Frank, and he was kind of a bomb, kind of out there kind of guy that just burst on the scene, inappropriate, whatever. That was his backstory. And my guy was sort of a bumbling guy, the Pop character who might stumble or fall or whatever. And we kept that going for, I want to say about 12 years maybe.
Snap, Crackle, Pop, talking just to you. Sounds good.
Kellogg's Rice Krispies, the talking part of this complete breakfast.
So they usually either reflected the brand or communicated something that the advertiser wanted you to know about the brand that set that brand apart. Charlie the tuna was a literal thing, like not all tuna's good enough, right? So he represented the tuna that wasn't good enough. The Keebler Elves were a little bit different, for example, because they didn't personify the brand, but they represented the magic that went into the brands. And then you've got other things like the Pillsbury Doughboy, which I think personified great taste.
The Doughboy has a positive personality. I try to keep him happy and bright. I don't ever allow anything bad to happen for him or to him because he's a nice little guy. And you always have to be contemporary. You know, if the Doughboy didn't change, you know, everybody changes as they grow older.
And what's interesting is because the characters do evolve over time. I mean, Funniest thing, I remember seeing a Pillsbury Doughboy spot where he rapped.
It's me! Here's a rap that you should know, made with Pillsbury crescent rolls.
When you think about it, you don't think so much about iconic characters anymore. They're not there. I don't know if it's just a shift in the way advertising has worked, but that stuff isn't quite there.
Most of my work was like from 1983 until about 2000.
The new writers didn't really like writing stuff that was from the previous generation. And some of that's understandable, but it's just like they didn't really want to go in that direction, so they kind of phased it out.
This is just an evolutionary thing, and different sensibilities. You know, those commercials would be, they started out 30 seconds to 60 seconds long. Then they went to 30, then they went to 15. People's attention spans are so short now. I don't see being able to sit through a whole 30-second commercial with an animated character talking to you.
I remembered when things were going and I'd do 5 and 6 jobs a day sometimes. I said, it's never gonna be like this. Enjoy this. I knew it at the time. Enjoy what you're doing because it can't last. And it lasted a long time. But the business, I guess it's like all business, the business changed.
The reason I don't think we see the critters as much anymore is a lot of those categories have been replaced or usurped by newer categories. I don't know, do any canned tunas advertise anymore, for example? So where's Charlie the tuna? I think categorically, tuna's not really an active category anymore. It's become a commodity. I don't think it's the fault of the critters. I think it's generally the results of just an evolving American taste.
Aren't you supposed to be sleeping?
At slumber parties, we want to hear Snap, Crackle, and the Pops.
That's Pop. Ready when you are.
Do you miss it?
Terribly, terribly. I'm available.
I miss my friends, and I miss the creativity and the fun.
Yeah, I miss doing the work, but I miss the people more than anything. I just miss going in there. I always wanted to just get the job over quick so I could hang out with the people. Let's just goof around.
I have to say, I love the people I worked with almost without exception.
Boy, I'll tell you, some of the sessions you always laughed in the sessions. They were jolly, they were happy, they were bright. The raid bugs, even though we died, it was like, raid! And, that was the way it was.
Oh, come on, I'm dying here.
Looks like we all are. Raid!
I predict, and I think it's a safe prediction because everything comes around, and at some point there'll be animated critters again. I think enough time has to pass where they'll feel fresh again instead of dated. And I think if you did it now, they might feel dated. In 10 years, maybe even 5 years, I don't know, they could feel fresh again.